Hey, welcome back to 5 Lakes Garage, and today we are on the Ranger Danger, baby. That's right, this is Ray's 2003 Ford Ranger. We looked at a bunch of them, but she fell in love with this one. And of course, just like all the other vehicles we get, it needed a little bit of love. Alright, let's take a quick walk around this thing and show you all the things we need to do. At least for this video. Because there's going to be a lot of videos on this thing because it needs a lot of work. So check a look at what we've already done and what we're going to get ready to do and show you how we did it. Alrighty, this side we've already touched on. We got a new upper control arm because the ball joint is built into the control arm. Yay! Anyway, calipers will be here tomorrow. This is actually the original, and we just scraped it down, painted it, and got it ready to go. We got new tie rods, we got new bearings, we got new bushings, we got new. And if it's not new, it's refurbed, sort of. So now let's go look and see what it looked like before we touched it. It's nasty. Brace yourself. Alright, now this will be my lovely front. Like you see, it's got plenty of scales, plenty of rust. It did come from the beach. We knew it had some rust. We knew we had some dirt. I think it was basically submerged for a while. It's been dinged. It's got stuff hanging, but it still seems to be a pretty decent truck. All right, so we got picked up some sway bar end links. We have some new shocks. New upper control arm. New ball joint for the bottom. And while we're at it, might as well get a new tie rod because we already got to get it realigned. Might as well get it done. Also, new brake pads. We have new bearings for the hub, and also plenty of this stuff. This is just Rust Restore. No, they are not a sponsor, but it actually works out pretty well because with this amount of rust, you need to have something to convert it. Alright, so we got a lot of the stuff off, but we still have a few more things. But I wanted to stop and actually show you some of the safety precautions that you're gonna have to do if you're gonna be doing this yourself. Now, we got a tie rod right here. Bushing's all jacked up, so yeah, that's gonna be replaced. Now, that is a tapered sleeve right there. I got the nut off. So all you're gonna need is a little bit of persuasion. Yeah, that's some persuasion. And you're gonna need to get your love tapper out. Now you're just gonna hit right here on the end of the housing, and all you're doing is shocking it so it'll fall off. There's pickle forks, there's a bunch of other stuff. I like to use the persuader and the love tapper. Anyway, there is some threads right there. Don't mess them up. There you go, simple as that. It comes right off. Now the inside, might be able to get away with it, but we might be changing those too. This one is a little bit worse than the other side. Now here's where the safety thing comes in. That spring is under a lot of tension. If I was just to take this one bolt out, the whole thing go bow, and it will mess you up. So we're gonna do it a little bit safer. I'm just gonna use a regular old floor jack. All right, now you don't want to lift the truck all the way up. You want to get it to right at that limit of actually lifting it up. So that should be able to take some of the pressure off of that spring. So when I take this bolt out, hopefully it should just slide right out when I put the jack out, and the spring will just come out and it will not kill you. I hope. There you go. Now your spring is not loaded. Well, it's still loaded, but at least I can take this off and lower it down nice and easy. That's a little bit of rust. All right, now I should be able to let the jack out and the spring come right out. Check it out. There you go. Spring is out, nice and safe. Spring's still good. Anyway, next thing you need to do is get the upper control arm, lower control arm. Now the upper control arm is going to actually help with your camber. And go ahead and make a mark on top or somewhere that you can actually get it somewhat close. You still got to get it aligned, but at least you want to get it close. Or else your wheels are going to be oh kitty wampus all the way over there. So yeah, the rest of it should be relatively easy. Got a bolt there, bolt there, bolt there, bolt there. This all comes out. Tab rack comes out. I'll show you that here in a minute. But right now, these guys need to come off. All right, it's another day. Guess what? I forgot Ray has to work today. So I'm in here by myself once again. But she'll be back here a little bit later. So she did come in and kind of clean these up just a little bit. I'm going to have to go back and actually touch it up because it didn't do a good job. But that's okay. She will take care of it. But we need to get this ball joint out because that's not supposed to move like that. So we have a new one to put in there, but we got to press it. Before we press it out, we got to take the snap ring off. So you grab yourself some snap ring pliers. There you go. So get your snap ring off, throw it out of the way because you're not going to need it anymore. But what you will need is a sleeve, and this one right here is on its last leg. I kind of bent it a little bit, but we're going to make it work. So what we're going to do is actually, man, this thing is awkward. Anyway, we're going to put it over top of here. So when we press that ball joint out, it's going to be pressed inside the sleeve. All right, so once you actually get it into the press, I'm just going to press right on top of that Zerk fitting because we don't care about it. But it is in there and it's in there tight. So we're going to hit it with some heat. Now when you heat it up, you want to heat the outside diameter around it, not the actual piece, because this needs to stay the same size, but this needs to grow. So let's get the torch, put some heat on it, and it should pop right out. There she goes. There you go. All right, so now what we have to do is actually clean it up just a little bit more and then actually get some paint on it. And the paint that we're using is what I showed you earlier. It kind of converts the rust into regular metal again, so you can actually prep it and paint it with some primer and regular paint. But for right now, I need to hit the wire brush, hit it again, and the needler. More work to be done. I'm sleepy. I still didn't get any coffee yet. Send some to the channel if you got a good brand, if you're brew your own, whatever, roast your own. Send it over. P.O. Box down in the description. Alright, that looks a whole lot better. Yeah, painting things black kind of hides a lot of stuff. It's still got a little bit of patina on it, but should be ready to go back on as soon as it dries. But we have other things to do while that thing is drying, like wheel bearings. Alright, so just grab yourself one of these. They're actually pretty cheap, but they come in so handy. This is going to get this gasket out of here. There you go. Just going to... See what I mean? Easy peasy, baby. Alright, let's get these guys out, because not only do they have bearings in there, which as you can see, they're not that bad. But like I said, we're going to replace them anyway. But we have races in there that we need to get out. Now I'm just going to use my vise here. And I'm going to use my little drift and a big hammer. Got a drift, got a hammer. Not that big of a hammer, but it is a big hammer. So you're just going to get it right on the edge of that race. Alright, there you go. There's your race for the outside. Got to get that guy out so we can put the new ones in. So now you got one out. Time to get the other one out. There you go, two out. And you're probably asking yourself, why don't you just get new rotors? Why don't you get new lower control arms? Because this thing's starting to get expensive. A lot of the parts are relatively cheap when you buy them individually, but when you try and do the whole thing, it's starting to get pricey. And you know, she's on a fixed income. All right, once you get everything cleaned off, be careful not to damage your ring right here. This is for your anti-lock brakes. If you don't have this ring on it, you're gonna have to pull that off and press on another one, or get a whole new rotor, which hopefully will come with it. But like I said, we're trying not to spend so much money. So anyway, you're gonna get your new bearings. Now, right now we're just worried about our race because we need to pound that guy in. There you go. Now keep this guy in a nice clean spot because you need to put grease in it. You gotta pack it. All right, so I'm getting ready to pound this guy in there, and I would highly recommend go ahead and get yourself a little kit. Looks just like this, and it comes with all different types of sizes, so that you can get one that is pretty much the same size as your race, so you do not mess it up when you go in. So make sure everything is nice and clean before you pound it in, and make sure she goes in straight. There you go. You hear that sound? Sound changed. That means you're rock bottom, baby. All right, let's flip it over because we have another race to put in. All right, one thing you need to understand is when you put these races in, they got to go the right way. Because if you look at this race, it's a lot bigger on that side than it is on that side. So that means it's tapered. So if you think of it this way, this is your outer, this is your inner. They need to be facing together, so when you start squishing this down and putting preload on these bearings, they're going to be pulling into each other. So don't forget. So anyway, we have the seal that we need to put on this guy. Yeah. So anyway, the seal is going to go right there. But before you do that, grease your bearing. But I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to grease it right before I put everything else in there because I don't want dirt and crud to get in there. Or as your Australians call it, smuts. Alright, excuse the fan. We're just trying to clean this up a little bit. I do believe some people call this the Craigslist rebuild. Basically get rid of all the rusty crud stuff and then spray it with some paint. But the first thing we're going to do now is get rid of this old nasty tie rod because that looks nasty. So anyway, this is your lock nut. You're going to break that loose. And then count how many turns this thing comes off at. Now if you keep your lock nut there, you should be pretty darn close. So your alignment won't be too off by the time you actually get to the shop. And when you get done with this, do take it to the alignment shop. Alright, so it's time to put in the ball joint. Now, make sure you have your clip and put it in the same orientation that it came out of. Alright, something else too, you're gonna have to be pressing this in, so you do not want to mess up your boot. So you're just gonna take your little clip off, just like that. You can take the clip off, and then your boot should just be able to fall right off. Boom. Now you do want to be careful that you don't get too much dirt inside the ball joint. Right now it's exposed. Be careful. So this particular one is going to go down like this, and then this guy is going to go, it's basically pointing out of the bottom. So think of it that way. So I have a nice little socket right here. Get the dirt off. That fits over there perfectly. All right, I got my ball joint. I have my socket. I have my sleeve right underneath it. Make sure it's spaced just right, and make sure everything is centered. And then, drive her home. I'll do it till you can't do it no more. There you go. Ball joint is in place. Make sure you get your boot back on as soon as you can. You don't want to get that dirty. Bam. There we go. Now we're ready to be almost ready to put it back into the truck. But first, make sure you put your clip on. It'll go right there as soon as I find my pliers. So let's get this guy in. We'll do it without glasses. Why not? There you go. Not going anywhere. You also have a grease fitting you're going to put right here on top. Hey, thanks for watching the show. Hey, if you need some outdoor speakers, indoor speakers, whichever, go ahead over to Redone and go ahead and get you 10% off. But if you need some LED lights for your trucks, your tractors, whatever, go over to Exito and get you 15% off. All the promo codes are down and below. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. And we'll catch you later. Enjoy the show. I got to clean up. All right, as you see, I got my upper control arm, got my lower control arm, and I got my spring almost in. Got my jack underneath it so I can try to do it somewhat safely. Don't forget to make sure that your indexes are matching with the lower cup and the upper cup. Anyway, all of your bolts, so you have a bolt right there, bolt there, bolt there, bolt there. Keep them loose until you get everything at ride height. So basically you're going to drop it onto this wheels, or in this case I'm going to use my jack and pull it up all the way to where my jack stand is a little bit off of the truck. Then I'm going to tighten everything down and make sure that you try to get it to where you have it on your marks that you made earlier to make it somewhat, well, somewhat straight. Anyway, let's get this guy going. All right, so we got both ball joints already tied down. Make sure your cotter pins are in. You need to put the bolt, the nut on the tie rod end. Then we can put it to ride height, tighten everything up, and then we should be ready for the shock to go in and every darn thing else. So stay tuned. All right, we got everything tightened down. It is at ride height. All the weight is on the spindle itself. Now, the last thing we need to do before we've actually put the spindle in the shield and all that type of stuff and pack the bearings, put on the sway bar. Now, Ford, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big Ford fan at all. I don't understand the engineering most of the time. All right, it's about time to pack the bearings, but guess who is come back from work? Hey, Ray.
Hi.
Finally, I get some work out of the girl.
Hey.
All right, so we need to pack the bearings. Now I just blew it out with some air, make sure that it was nice and clean. Now the bearings, as you can tell, doesn't have any grease in it. We're gonna fix that. So I got me some tube grease here. It's the same stuff you put in your grease gun. Pack the bearings. All you're gonna do is take your fingers, dip it into your grease, stick it into the palm of your hands. And then you're gonna take your bearing, and then you're just gonna sit here and go like that. Probably seen this done a bunch of times. You're gonna see it one more time. Now you're gonna keep doing this until you see grease come out of this side of it. We're putting it on this side, but we need to go all the way through, all the way around this thing. If you need more grease, grab more grease, whatever. Then you're gonna stick it in, and then we're gonna hammer in the seal. All right. As you can see, you got grease on the other side. Spin it, work on a different side. All right, so we got grease all inside that bearing. Now it's time to put in the seal. Now the seal is actually going to hold that bearing in there. Then we can flip it over and actually do the outer bearing and grease it just like we did that. So we're just going to use another one of our pucks that is bigger than the seal. And get it lined up. There we go. Oh. Then you take your BFH, ram it home. Bam. Alright, so we're almost done. Just take a little bit of the grease and put it around the outside of the rubber. And what that's going to do is keep it from, hopefully, it will just slide right on the spindle. Guess what? Got another one to do. Alright, so all the bearings are packed and we're ready to put it on. I kind of already put it on because I forgot to hit record. Sorry. But I'll explain it to you. There we go. Alright, so you got your inner bearing, you got your outer bearing, then you have a washer. Don't forget the washer. And also you have a nut. Now go ahead and spin it. So you want to tighten it down so you almost barely turn it. Alright, then you're going to back it off just a hair until it moves freely. Now you don't want to have any play or anything like that. Now, do not forget, all right, so don't forget this guy here. Now what this is going to do is keep that nut from backing out. And always, always put brand new cotter pins in there. Don't use the old, nasty, cruddy ones. Get it out of here. I'm going to grab a new one, and then we're going to be in good shape. Once you put your new cotter pin in, don't forget your dust cap. Go ahead and clean it out. It's probably got some nasty crud in there. Ideally, you want to put like a socket or something like that over it. We're just going to use a dead blow. you go. She is almost ready to go. Hit it with some brake clean, get rid of all the grease and the grime and fingerprints and all the other good stuff, and then you're ready to put on your caliper with new brake pads. All right, Ray's underneath the truck actually torching herself, trying to get some of this nasty crud swamp dust off this thing so we can actually treat some of the rust. Now, there's one more set of bling we're getting ready to put on the old Ranger Danger. New calipers. Yeah. So I went ahead and picked up some new ones. I was going to try to refurbish the old ones, but like the bleeder screws were rusted on there. Could not get them off. I broke one off, so hey, we got new parts. It happens. So go ahead and pull them apart. It's just 2 little bolts, and you can take the one side off. Now you need to get these little grooves. Let's see if we can get there. Focus. Okay. We're going to have to put these guys in there, or else it will rattle, it will shake, it will make noise, and we don't want that. Very simple. That's why you take it apart, stick the other side in, and then we can stick the pads in. Alright, so we do have our bracket in. Now we can actually put our pads in. Try not to touch this side because you got greasy, nasty fingers. Put one side in. Maybe. Get the back side.
Hey Dad, did you know that we have one side in?
Yeah. I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. Bam. Alright. Now, when you're trying to figure out which caliper goes for which side, and let's just say it is not labeled. Basically, you're going to sit it up there, which this one is going to sit just like this. This is your inlet for your banjo bolt. This is your bleeder. Always put the bleeder to the top because you need to have gravity to help you bleed your system. Anyway, put this guy on, and then we'll do the banjo. Maybe. Yes, that's right. That's why I love having them in the shop. Never a dull moment. Man, that looks good. All right, so now we need to do our banjo bolt. And what that is that you have a special little bolt right here that has a orifice down the center, and then you have a hole on both sides. Now, do not forget, you should get new copper washers when you get a new caliper. All right, so go ahead and take your little nipple out. Then,
did you just say nipple?
Yes, it's a nipple.
Okay.
Jeez, teenagers. Anyway, you have your brass little washer. We're gonna put, basically you're gonna put one on both sides of your banjo here. There's one. Boom. There's the other. Now we're just gonna go ahead and screw this down, and hopefully it fits. And it looks like it is. Oh my goodness.
You have to say BAM!
Oh, I'm sorry. Once I get it on.
Oh. Yeah.
BAM! Alright. Now don't cinch it down too far, only because all you want to do is collapse those washers. If you go too much, then you might actually break one, and then you're just back to square one. So we're gonna we got to do the other side, and then once we get done with that, we need to put some brake fluid in and bleed the brakes, which I'm pretty sure you don't need to see that. All you're gonna hear is me going up, down, up, and down. All right, almost done. I am so excited to get this thing out of the shop so I can clean it and work on my own stuff, not just hers.
It's okay, Danger Ranger, we love you.
She loves the Danger Ranger. All right, we're just gonna wrap this thing up. It has new shocks, it has new control arms, it has new brakes, it has new calibers. What else we got here? Sway bar end links. We got everything new, almost. All the other stuff that we kind of saved, we did refurbish it, so it should be okay. If it's not, hey, guess what? We'll go right back in, we'll fix it later. Because that's what we do here at Five Lakes Garage, we fix things. At least we try to, anyway. But anyway, it's good to have Ray back into the shop. She's going to put the tires back on this thing so we can get it on the ground and actually take it for a test drive. But you can see next time on all the other stuff we have. I think the next thing we're going to do is actually put in some new buttons on that steering wheel, because they are destroyed. It looks like a Rottweiler just took a hold of it. Anyway, check out that check this out next time on 5 Lakes Garage when we work on Range of Danger, baby. Let's roll. Later.